I'm going to talk through using AI to teach in the era of generative AI, not in the sense of doing something with AI in the classroom, but something that you do in your course preparation, in your assignment preparation, that helps you see what students are doing, how they're doing the work, the process, and not just the product when you assign an essay or something like that. And here's how I used AI to help me with this, right? Because I think sharing this not only will give you something concrete that you can use, but will help you see how this technology can be a positive tool, even if it can also be misused by students and others in ways that cause harm. So it starts with an instance of vibe coding. And for those of you who don't know the term, vibe coding means basically telling Claude, which is very good at writing code, what you want and letting Claude make the code. And then you just copy and paste and use that code, right? And so it's being able to tell an AI assistant, here's what I want the program to do, here's what I want the script to do, and having it write the computer code for you. And so I asked it to create something that would allow me to automate the process of creating individual Google Docs for each student in a class for a particular assignment. And the reason for that is one way to see whether students are doing the work themselves is to have access to the process, to the revision history of a document. And for you to be able to see that, the best way is for them to write their assignment in a shared document, in a cloud storage space that you have set up and of which you're the owner, right? And so you can see the revision history of that document as they work on it. And ideally, you'll want to integrate into the course and into your work with the students something that engages them along the way and not just at the end, but at the very least it lets you see whether all this text appeared at once, right? Which is suspicious and is something you at the very least want to talk with them about. And so I told Claude what I was looking for, and it made it. As I tried out what it did, it gave me some additional ideas, right? And I had some additional ideas and asked it to do some revisions. And in the end, what I ended up with was something that would prompt me to input the name of the course, and I'll create a folder, and then the type of assignment and what the assignment is called, and then a list of students, right, with their name and email address. And it creates the folder and creates the documents, and this is what speeds up the process so very much, because otherwise you have to do each of these individually, not just creating each document, but then sharing it with the student, right? And because you can input a whole list of names and email addresses, it will create those documents shared with the individual of that name with that email address as editor and with you as owner. And so what you do when you're vibe coding like this is you copy the script, right, the computer code that it generates, and there's a convenient copy button, and then you go and create a Google Doc. In this case, created this one, which is called it student assignment.creator, right? And so it would be a blank document, but if you create a Google Doc, right, let's say a Google Doc, it gives you, and because I want to tell you how you got there, right, extensions and then apps script, right? And that's where you can access the code. And what you'll do is you'll just delete everything that's there and paste in what it generated, and then you'll save it, right? Give it a title, a name that you want, save it, and then run it, right? And so if we go back to the one that I created earlier, right? When we run it, I have to review permissions, right? And you will have to give it access because it's going to be creating, it's going to be doing stuff in your Google Drive, right? And so let's just give this a new title because that one doesn't seem to be working this time. Save it. And then when you run it, once it's set up properly, then in the document, okay, I'm going to do that review permissions again. Sorry, this is taking a little longer than I expected it to. And then in the document, as you can see here, you type in class name, and so we'll call the class name test, okay? And then the assignment name, we'll call it demo 1, okay? And then let's say that the student is James McGrath, and you could put a whole list here separated by semicolons. I'll put in my email address there, okay? And then in Google Drive, right, now there is a new folder called test. And in that folder, it's created this document that is shared with me. And so you can see that this can speed up the whole process of doing this thing that is pedagogically important for working with students in the era of generative AI. And so I'm happy to share the code from this, but you can also do this kind of vibe coding thing yourself using Claude. And so I hope that this demo will help you feel a bit more confident trying out some of these kinds of things that might make it possible for you, easier for you to do things that help you teach in the era of generative AI, but also use this technology to your advantage in ways that are ethically appropriate, because there are ethical, helpful uses of this technology.